What's going on, guys? Mickle here. In this video, we are doing a deep dive into the Ripple SEC case and analyzing some recent motions that were just filed to the court by both the SEC and Ripple. A lot of these motions have really flown under the radar. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about them, but these motions are super significant and hit home at the main issues in this case. I'm going to be showing you guys what different lawyers are saying about these most recent motions and how they go to both Ripple and the SEC strategy to ending this case once and for all. I believe analyzing these motions are going to give us a better idea of where this case is headed and what we should expect to come in the coming weeks and months. I think you guys are really going to like it, and we have some really good news in this video pertaining to Ripple's side of this case. I also have some super bullish news, not really relating to Ripple, but about XRP in general at the end of this video. I think you guys are really going to appreciate that, so make sure you guys stick around. If you guys are new to this channel or come here all the time, make sure to like and subscribe. It is such a great way you guys can help support this channel for free and means so much to me. If you guys do not have an Uphold account already, make sure to sign up in the link in the description below. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Guys, I wanted to start this video out with this tweet from Stephen Hubert. I thought this meme was so funny, so accurate, and really plays into everything we've been watching. He says, spoiler alert, and right here we have XRP with the SEC trying to take it out and JP Morgan forcing the SEC's hand. We have seen so many connections between JP Morgan and the SEC and their seemingly desire to push Ethereum through the door and try to shut it on XRP. It seems like that's really what we've been watching over the last couple months, but one thing we cannot deny is that Ripple has always been 10 steps ahead of all of this. Throughout this entire case, we have seen that Ripple has actually been putting the SEC on defense. They have countered all their points brilliantly, and it seems like now, despite the fact that the SEC actually brought this case against Ripple, it seems like the SEC is actually the party on trial. I think this is so interesting, and I think it says so much about how talented the Ripple team is, but also how good their legal team is and how poor the SEC was in bringing this case. They didn't have any evidence, they clearly weren't prepared for it, and they didn't even do the research necessary to understand some of the most fundamental issues they were going to encounter when bringing this case. They have been trying to hide everything, which is just a telltale sign that they never had any confidence in the facts behind this Ripple case. They were simply bringing it because someone else was forcing their hand, someone else had the gun to their head, and we don't necessarily know exactly who that is. We don't know if this was all a plan to bring clarity to the market, but either way, it's pretty funny, and I think this just shows that Ripple is a step ahead, and at the end of the day, the talent they have at their team, the talent they have behind their lawyers is going to be a big reason why they are going to come out of this on top. Now, I want to jump into some of the new filings in the Ripple SEC case. Not a lot of people have been talking about these recently. They're not as flashy as some of the bigger motions we've been waiting on, but these still hit home at some of the biggest issues going forward. So I think it's really important that we at least take a look at these and understand what is going on right now. Right here at a James K. filing, Ripple, Chris Larson, and Brad Garlinghouse have filed a letter in further support of their motion to strike the SEC's late filed Met supplemental expert report. So for those of you who don't know, expert discovery ended a few weeks back, and the SEC came in late with this extra report. Essentially, one of the main things they have been arguing about is whether or not Ripple's business announcements affect the price of XRP. I know, most of us have watched countless announcements by Ripple. The price of XRP never moves, but the SEC is trying to fight the other side of this and saying that it does move substantially. When Ripple makes these announcements, I think most people in the XRP community likely think the SEC is going to have a very hard time arguing this. But Ripple's essentially coming in and saying, look, why do they have to file this late? Why are they allowed to constantly break the rules and are constantly being rewarded by these documents being accepted? Ripple even goes on to say that allowing these documents would continue to reward the SEC for its gamesmanship and further prejudice the defendants. The SEC's decision to wait until after the very last deposition scheduled in this case to file this new report necessitates their need to be sanctioned. So Ripple's saying, look, if the SEC is just going to keep breaking the rules, then they need to be punished. It's not fair to Ripple if the SEC is just going to play by whatever rules they want, and they're going to benefit from them doing this. Now, I wanted to scroll down and show you this tweet because I thought this was pretty accurate. It looks like the SEC is saying to the judge, look, we took our lawsuit out against Ripple December 2020, and we haven't found anything yet. But maybe if we just had a little more time, we might be able to find something that could be used against Ripple and stall XRP adoption a bit longer. That kind of seems like where we're at. It's so crazy to me that the SEC is relying on these obscure documents for what they claim is obvious that XRP is a security of Ripple. I mean, if their main argument is that XRP might go up 1 or 2% on a Ripple announcement, that is such bad evidence, because at the end of the day, Ripple's using XRP. So a Ripple announcement is good for XRP. I mean, it's just common sense. As an XRP holder, if there's a really big company using XRP, that makes me more bullish. I mean, their argument should have to be a Ripple announcement that doesn't involve XRP. In my mind, that's the only thing that really makes sense, because it distinguishes a difference between good news for both Ripple and XRP and just good news for Ripple. Now, I don't know if Ripple's going to make this argument. I don't even know if that's being talked about right now. But the fact that this is the SEC's main evidence just shows how weak their argument are, and just goes to further show that this case is all a sham. Now, I want to keep moving though, because there was even more filings that were going on behind the scenes. The SEC has filed a motion for permission to redact notes of meetings between the SEC and third parties, claiming that these notes are protected by DPP. This request is based on a January 13th, 2020 decision on the DPP issue. So essentially, the court ordered that the SEC has to hand over some notes with third parties about their assessment of digital assets, and the SEC wants to do what they do best and essentially put black lines through the entire thing so Ripple can't see it. So this guy tweeted out right here. He said, hey, Attorney Jerriman, would the judge get to see these even if they were redacted? So would the judge get to see the notes before the SEC could cross everything out? And Jeremy Hogan said yes, and then actually goes back and says, oh, maybe not. He believes that both Ripple and the SEC would have to see the redacted version. Fred comes in, he kind of clears things up. He says that the SEC is trying to redact these for Ripple only, but the judge has likely already seen the notes. And then I came in with a pretty interesting point. I said, I can't imagine that the SEC would go to summary judgment based on the fact that we know what's hidden in these notes. These notes that are being fought about right now had to do with the Ethereum free pass speech. We know they show blatant corruption and likely show that the SEC knew XRP was no more or no less of a security than Ethereum, which was ultimately given the free pass. So I'm saying, if the judge is seeing these notes, how could the SEC dare go to summary judgment? Because the court is likely looking at the SEC and saying, what is this mess that you brought in front of us? Brett actually replied to me, and he said, this is a very realistic scenario I haven't considered much. Knowing how damaging these SEC docs are, the court could deny Ripple's access but construct its summary judgment ruling knowing the malfeasance of the SEC gov in Ripple's favor. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So this is pretty interesting, but because what he's saying is, even if these notes do end up being redacted for Ripple, at the end of the day, we know that Ripple's lawyers, a lot of their legal team came from the SEC. So it's very likely that the Ripple lawyers and the Ripple legal team already have a really good idea of what's in these notes. So at the end of the day, what's really important is just that the court is seeing the unredacted version, because the court during summary judgment is going to go through all the evidence they have seen and decide who's on the right and who's on the wrong side of the law. So if these documents are as damning as we think they are, and as different lawyers in our community think they are, then what really matters is the court sees them, and they're going to get a better idea of how insane this case by the SEC really is, and be more likely to side in Ripple's favor. So despite the fact that it's annoying that the SEC is once again blocking out these documents, at least the court is seeing an unredacted version, and I believe it makes it much more unlikely that this thing will go to summary judgment, and much more likely that it will settle out beforehand. We know most cases settle, and if there is a settlement, it is going to happen very soon, likely at the end of April. Let's keep moving though, because I actually have some really good news outside of the case. Yesterday, I reported on the fact that Warren Davidson was pushing some XRP FUD. He was essentially alluding to the idea that XRP was centralized, which is clearly a big issue because that's one of the things the SEC is saying. So any person siding with the SEC on their insane arguments has to be questioned. But today, we had some much better news out of Warren Davidson. Breaking, Warren Davidson liked this John Deaton tweet. Well, what we saw yesterday was disturbing. Warren has the power to make things right, and I hope he does. XRP holders are not asking for special treatment. All we want is a level playing field and fair rules. And the tweet he liked from John Deaton said, "I'm sure both congressmen are accused of dealing with the frustrated public. XRP holders get screwed. Rep. Emmer publicly stated XRP is not a security. Under Rep. Davidson's bill, XRP would not be considered a security. I remain confident an inquiry into the SEC will be made." And he liked this. In this message, XRP is called not a security on his bill, and it's encouraging him to look into the SEC. The fact that he went out of his way to like this message shows that I believe he realized he kind of messed up here. I don't know why he jumped the gun and said kind of the things he was saying about Ripple. But at the end of the day, it seems like if he's going to put a bill forward that states that XRP is not a security and he's going to look into the SEC, what more could we really ask? Whether or not this is just damage control or whatever, it's a step in the right direction and I was pretty happy to see it. Let's keep moving though. I wanted to show you this because at the end of the day, going off what I said right here, where I said XRP holders are not asking for special treatment. All we want is a level playing field and fair rules. That's kind of the basis of all of this. Look, XRP holders aren't asking for XRP to be the only asset with clarity. We might end up with that, but at the end of the day, we just want to be on a level playing field with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and I want all the digital assets to be on a level playing field. I don't want it to be this, oh, you have to go to the SEC and they randomly pick who's a winner and loser. It's so insane and so absurd, and we're never going to create a market that's going to change the world with this quasi-secretive regulators picking winners or losers regulation. It doesn't make any sense. It's not how markets should work. And all I want is fair treatment for all assets. But this just further shows that the SEC is way out of line. And let me just play this to you and then we'll break it down.
Bill Hinman of the SEC made a speech and he basically communicated that there was regulatory situation for Bitcoin and Ethereum that they no longer consider securities.
So if congressmen thought that Bitcoin and Ethereum were not securities, and now the SEC is saying that we never made a statement on Ethereum or Bitcoin, well, this is just a complete and utter disaster. How is it that the SEC is so confusing with their statements that they literally tricked Congress, the people they're supposed to report to? It shows that there is absolutely zero clarity in this market. We need clear regulations. And what is actually pretty interesting is someone who is actually a very, very skeptical person of crypto, Janet Yellen, who is the U.S. Treasury Secretary, said we would like to create a healthy regulatory environment for crypto innovation. We do not have that now, and the fact that pretty big crypto skeptics are now coming out and saying, look, we need to figure this out, I think is a pretty positive sign, but further shows that we do not have that environment now. And just by the fact that congressmen are confused by what the SEC is putting out there shows that it is impossible that innovators and lawyers and anyone trying to make a difference in this space would be able to with certainty. We need to fix this. I think we will, but I just think it's crazy to think that the people who make the rules don't even understand the rules. Last of all, one more thing to highlight the absurdity of everything going on is that the library account tweeted out, they're essentially saying in the library versus SEC case, the SEC specifically alleging that because we spent money to improve the already functioning library protocol, that makes LBC a security. If we had sold all the LBC, kept the money and went home, it wouldn't have been a security. Talk about messed up incentives. And Jeremy Hogan says this is spot on. What kind of twilight zone are we living in where the SEC believes a rug pull is legal, but if a company stays around, tries to fix the issue, used in the protocol, then you better watch out because you are breaking the law. The laws don't make sense. It's obvious. It's annoying. We have so many different regulators coming out saying the rules aren't clear. We have members of the SEC coming out and saying the rules are clear. We need to fix this. I don't know how it's going to get done, but I think a big step forward is the Ripple beating the SEC in court and stating once and for all that tokens like XRP should never be considered an inherent security. The token itself will never be a security. Hopefully this creates rules about selling, creates some standards in the market going forward, but at the end of the day, things need to be cleared up or the innovation will never foster in the US. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. Make sure to like and subscribe. For now, Mickle out.